Around the country, people are wondering, when is there going to be a coronavirus vaccine? And Trump also has it on his mind. Here is what he had to say about the medical experts that we can rely on as a country and what they've been able to accomplish historically.
Tremendous progress. I deal with these incredible scientists, doctors, very, very closely. I have great respect for their minds, and they have come up with things, and they've come up with many other cures and therapeutics over the years. These are the people, the best, the smartest, the most brilliant anywhere, and they've come up with the AIDS vaccine. They've come up with, or the AIDS, and as you know, there's various things, and now various companies are involved. But the therapeutic for AIDS was a death sentence, and now people live a life with a pill.
I don't want to get too on him because obviously he says there's an AIDS vaccine, and no, there's not. There's not an AIDS vaccine or a cure or anything like that. People are still getting it, but there are great in therapeutic. There are good things, and I get that he sort of corrected himself. It was a stupid thing to say, but he did correct himself. I have other criticisms around this. But one thing that I did notice there, and it's not like anybody's going to be surprised to find out that Trump doesn't know what he's talking about, but like there's that stereotypical thing that like a kid would do if they have to talk about a book report and they haven't read the book, where they're like, well, and there's various things and various companies. It's like you're talking, but you're not revealing anything. So anyway.
The only thing that's more annoying than a politician playing politician and not answering a question or dancing around it, and saying a lot without saying anything. That's a politician's like MO. Is Trump trying to emulate that and then trying to dance around an issue, trying to say a lot without saying it, and then he reveals he doesn't know what he's talking about, and also that whatever he's referring to makes absolutely no sense. So as you said, he tried to, try to cover it up a little bit, and he did sound like he was meandering, trying to figure, oh man, how do I get out of this? I know I just said there's an AIDS vaccine, but I don't think. Maybe it's some kind of secret. He's been having meetings with Kanye. Kanye said that Magic's got the cure. Magic Johnson's got the cure.
Did he say that?
So yeah, I think Kanye said that in like a lyric one time. But basically, like in a way, saying like, hey, they're talking about HIV or AIDS, but look at Magic getting fat in his old age, like any other person that doesn't have it. So maybe he's been meeting with people. Maybe he knows something that we don't know, John.
Maybe. Like I said, I don't want to focus too much on that. My bigger issue with this is Donald Trump pops up to say something about the coronavirus, which he has not talked about much very often. We've been very critical of him recently for that. Is it better or worse that he's not paying any attention to it now than that when it was all nonsense and misinformation? I don't know. Take your pick. But information about the vaccine at this point, I would say, is right up there at the very top of what people need to know about, and what they need to know needs to be accurate. And so when he sits up there and says, we're going to have it very soon, that is not just, I know what they'd say. They'd say he's trying to reassure people. He's trying to make people feel more confident. But here's the thing. We are a country that is way too comfortable with the coronavirus right now. Like, people think it's done. They're not taking it seriously. And if so many people are walking around thinking, oh, we're going to have a vaccine super soon, I don't need to worry about it, I don't need to do anything, I don't need to change anything, because Trump keeps saying we're going to have it very soon, that's not just, hey, it's the president, he's making us feel better. That is irresponsible to the point of people getting sick and potentially dying. And it is altering behavior. And so I'm going to let you get back in, JR, but I'm going to try to balance that misinformation with a little bit of accurate information about vaccines in just a second, but give me your thoughts.
No, yeah, so that's the idea. I'm trying to quell people's fears. He's been saying that since the beginning. And I guess there's a different school of thought from different approaches. Is if you inform people, they feel more comfortable because they have information and they can act accordingly. The other thought is hey, we can't give people information because they're going to panic and freak out and wave their hands in the air and run around in the streets and go start killing themselves. No, like, maybe some people would freak out that way. Maybe he's thinking personally, if he hears something about himself or hears about some kind of a virus or a sickness that's near him, maybe he freaks out and he's connecting that just that way. But a lot of people like to have control over their lives and have information in order to have that control over their lives. And he somehow misses that there's this large segment of the population that would like that. There's people that are quarantined, don't want to be quarantined, of course, who does? But then they understand, hey, I'm more comfortable quarantined than I am wondering if I just got sick from this one interaction I had with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I totally agree. Let me give you a little bit of information about vaccines because, look, I'm not trying to scare you, but I want you to be realistic, not you, JR, I mean everybody, about what is likely to happen. So at a base level, it typically takes 10 to 15 years to develop a vaccine. Creating, for instance, the HPV vaccine, that was a 15-year journey from key research findings back in the very beginning of the 90s until the vaccine was approved, initially for the prevention of cervical, vulvar, and vaginal cancers in 2006. The Ebola vaccine, which he mentions in that little speech, one of the fastest ever to be approved, took about 4 years from start to finish. Okay, and that is one that he cited there as evidence of how fast it can be, and apparently that was very fast. Now, with the entire world's attention on creating a coronavirus vaccine, and the nature of the coronavirus, which we'll get into, which might hypothetically make it a little bit easier to make a vaccine, it doesn't appear that it is going to take the 4 years. But it isn't going to take 4 months. It hasn't. We're past that at this point. And so that's why when he says very, very soon, that sort of vague, I would say purposefully dishonest language does a disservice to the struggle that international doctors are currently undergoing to get it out as fast as possible. And for the people who are going to have a very inaccurate idea of what the timeline actually looks like.
How often do you think, well, not even often, do you think at all Trump has gone and talked to any experts, any people that are part of developing a vaccine, any of these companies that have been granted us money to do so? If he's checked in, or even if he's had an advisor, have someone who's in charge of this check in, come back to him and find out about how long does this take so I can be informed enough to tell people how this would work.
Yeah.
You don't want to know the information. It's a simple question. You don't have to read, President. You don't have to read. Just ask someone else to do the research and come back to you and tell you, hey, this isn't going to be a 4-month process. And at least have that information. I don't think it's that hard to do. I wouldn't know any of this stuff either. I'm no vaccine expert. I'm not a scientist. I'm no pharmaceutical guy or whatever hell they do when they put this together. But I can ask a question. Hey, I'm about to talk to the American people. Can you tell me what the hell is going on so I don't sound like an idiot?
Yeah.
Because right now I'm uninformed. And it's okay to be uninformed. That's not your expertise. We have this assumption that the president is supposed to know everything. No, he's not. It's impossible. That's why you have this thing called a staff. That's why you got this thing called administration. That's why you have this thing called departments and officials. They know all that stuff of their own expertise, and they give you the information. You just regurgitate it. I know it's tough, but just this part should be pretty simple.
You are absolutely crazy, JR. I think it's more likely that he would just know detailed information about vaccines. That's more likely than him saying, hey, I don't know this. Can you fill me in? Like,
Oh my
he's
God.
not going to do that. But it would be great to have a president that wants to do that. So some more information about vaccines. People need to understand that vaccines vary in how much immunity they provide. So there are some that are extremely effective, like the MMR vaccine. 1 dose is about 93% effective at preventing measles. 2 doses, which is the CDC recommendation, is about 97% effective. And so understand that even in this case, this is like the prototypical, very effective vaccine case, there is still a chance that hypothetically you could become infected with the thing that it's protecting you against. So bear that in mind. And that's the prototypical case, like the best. Others aren't as effective. The flu shot's effectiveness varies literally year to year because there are different strains, and the vaccines try to protect against the ones that are believed like they're going to be more common. During the last flu season, it was about 45% effective at preventing infections. The year before, it was just 29% effective. So understand that. And I will just throw out here again, as I always do, the people who maybe now in the comments are like, why do you care about the 118,000 people that have died of coronavirus? That's just like 2 years of the flu. I will remind them, the flu is still killing people during the coronavirus pandemic. It hasn't gone away. It's not like, the viruses have to like rock, paper, scissors for access to our immune system. It's still there. And so bear that in mind. It is likely... So there are things about the coronavirus that apparently make it, like I said, from what I have read, a little bit easier to create a vaccine. And there are multiple different ways that they're trying to create a vaccine for this. Targeting things like the so-called spike protein that involves the way that it gets into the cells and all that. But there is also an international rush to produce it. And I can't speak for other countries, but if Trump, if like the CDC or the FDA or whoever it would be, like we have a test, we have a possible vaccine. it's, you know, it's like fine, it's like 25% effective or something like that. Is Trump going to accurately communicate that? Is he going to pump the brakes, or is he going to rush it out as fast as possible? And look,
Well,
maybe even that would be helpful. Maybe it would be good to have that, as long as we understand it's not a total cure or a total prevention. But I just don't trust him or the government while he's the head of it.
We already have our template for that, and we already have the answer. Number one, he'll say it's 100% effective. We saw how he was touting hydroxychloroquine when there was absolutely no clinical studies or any kind of thing to let him know that it's effective, that it's going to do something. But he's declared it for months. So we already know what he's going to do if there's a 25% effectiveness. He's not going to tell anyone. And number two, the reasons he won't is because it'll cause a panic. It'll cause people not to really believe in it. And then people will continue to stay away and not build up the economy so I can get reelected. That's the whole idea he's got. And he's already shown us that's going to be his approach. So why would he change now? There's absolutely no reason.
Yeah, 100%. So anyway, look, obviously everybody hopes that it gets out there as soon as possible. That's what we want. That's certainly what we need to save lives. But, you know, we can't allow the desire for it to, you know, like cloud our mind or make us susceptible to misinformation. And so take these things with a grain of salt.
And let's with the opposition to things he says in quarantine and us libs, I'm going to say it like I've said every time. I can't wait to get back outside. I was outside yesterday. Yesterday I went to a store, and yesterday I went to the beach, and then I ran along the edge of the sand where there were fewer people. So yeah, I can't wait to get back there. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gone on a run, but in doing so, you take precautions because I'm trying to keep track of what's happening and then work accordingly. I haven't run every day. In fact, I haven't run in 2 weeks partially because of it. So I just want to dispel the rumor that people who want to follow by the rules and make sure things don't happen worse aren't happy sitting up in the house all day. Come on.
Exactly. Jared, don't get down on yourself. You may have like taken a little bit of time off the cardio, but you look great. You're doing fine. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.